Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Sprocket, and today I'm going to be showing off some multi-gun designs that I have come up with because the previous videos, the multi-gun update had been on experimental and I didn't want to switch to experimental, so I waited until it came out on the main line, and it's been on the main line and on the main line now. So I've made some multi-turret tanks, starting off with a modification here to the ALM Char 39H. If you remember from the French tank video, I didn't have the gunner, this gun in the hull because multi-cannon was not live at that point. However, now I have actually made it. I have actually been able to give it the 75mm in the hull, so we can now play around with that. If we were to assign it to a group, for example, we were to make this gun firepower group 2, for example. Save that. If we were to press F2, there you go. We're now able to use the 75mm in the hull. Wait for it to reload. Bang! There you go. Lovely. It takes 7 seconds to reload this thing. So yeah, now this thing is even more of a copy of the Char B1 because I've now able to put the 75mm howitzer in the hull. But yeah, that does mean that I had to fiddle around with some stuff. I had to give it more crew members, or did I? No, I didn't actually. I was able to just make the. Actually, I think I did. I had to give it another loader for the hull, but then I could just make the radio operator also the gunner for the hull gun. So yeah, the actual hull gun itself is 55mm of 75mm penetration, and then the upper technical anti-tank cannon has got 50mm, so they've sort of got the same-ish penetration. But yeah, so the ALM Char 39H has now actually got a hull gunner, so that's always nice. There you go. It fires armor-piercing high explosive as well, just to give it that true howitzer feel. But the rest of the tank isn't actually changed. The next tank I have though is the Char Du, or Char Dukes, aka a twin-barreled Char. It's essentially, I didn't quite use the same hull as the Char 35C, although in hindsight I probably should have done instead of just making a brand new hull from scratch, but I didn't think it would look this similar. But yeah, basically what this is just a twin-barreled version of that tank. The turret itself and the hull is heavily based on the AMX 39, as well as the FCM 30T, basically the same as this thing was based on. So it's just a twin gun version. It's got two 47mm, although I might have had to have downed them to 30. No, they are 47mm, so it's got twin 47mm anti-tank guns in the turret, one of which I think has got a fire delay. Yes, it has. It's got a slight fire delay on this one, so we can fire one gun at a time. As you can see here, if we just click once, one gun will fire, but then if we hold down click for like a second, it'll fire both guns in quite a rapid succession. So that gives us the option to fire just one gun for better accuracy, or two guns for, you know, an emergency. So if we were to spawn like this RLM 35, RLM 165D, we can fire one gun and take him out, or we can spray and pray with him and just fire both guns and have them horrendously miss until he turns, and then there you go, both guns will hit. Lovely. But yeah, so it's my first sort of multi-cannon tank. I wanted to do something like the twin-barreled guns that are in World of Tanks, but I ended up just giving it to a French interwar cavalry tank, which is not exactly what I was thinking I was going to do. Can we penetrate this? Maybe. He can definitely penetrate us though, straight through the front. Armour-wise, it's not as well armoured as the other French tanks. It is 35mm and it is sloped, which gives it around at least 40mm of effective thickness. Especially if we angle it like this, we get all sorts of thickness. But the sides are 30mm, rear is 20, all around. It is a 4-man crew because we have got an extra loader for the other gun. The commander loads this gun, the other loader loads this gun, and the gunner fires both, which is why we're able to have the delay. And then the driver is just the guy in the hull. So yeah, it's an interesting experiment with the multi-cannons here. But really, what we're looking for is multi-turret tanks. And if we switch over to the Wehrmacht, you'll see just that with this behemoth, the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 199, aka a legally distinct T-35. Sorry, a legally distinct not T-35, because as you can see, it's just a T-35. It's just a German T-35 that I made. So what we've got here is we've got essentially Panzer I turrets, which have got 37mm Pak 36s in. Here we go, 37mm. They've got 53mm of pen. 37mm, 53mm of pen. And then in here we've got the close support 75mm, 75mm of pen. It is an early war German design. Yeah, 5 turret. Technical 9-man crew, but I've only got 7 because we don't have people in these turrets because the machine guns don't function, so having 2 spare people would just be pointless. But yeah, technically it's a 9-man crew, but we've only got 7. Each of these Panzer I turrets have only got 1 guy in them because that's what Panzer I turrets had. So the one guy loads and fires, this guy loads and fires itself, and then, or himself rather, and then inside of the main turret we've got the gunner, loader, commander. And then we've got a bow machine gunner, which has got, which I don't know why I'm using that machine gun port. We should be using this for the MG34. So yeah, we've got the radio operator, who is also the bow machine gunner, and then we've got the driver. And as for engine, we've got 4-litre V6 because apparently I think the update broke the engines, because no matter what engine you put in anything, it says it's very fast. So who knows? But yeah, we've got our clutch braking, and yeah, it's just a T-35, but German. And we've got them grouped. So if I only want to fire the 37mm, then I can, and they can fire independently of the main gun. And then if I want to fire just the close support howitzer, then I can, well, close support 75mm rather, so if I just want to fire this, there you go, I can. Went a bit high there. But yeah, so that is the close support, sorry, not the close support, the legally distinct, different T-35 German. The only problem with this is that Sprocket doesn't like you having rear turrets. As you can see, the rear turret will always face forwards. And that means if I shoot the 37mm here, I harm myself. For example, I have set myself on fire, and there you go, I've shot my own ammunition. And if you're wondering, no, changing the angles here of the turret doesn't actually do anything. If we go here to constraints, and if we were to set it to something like this, all it means is that the turret can only face this far to the right from facing forwards. As you can see, it just sort of stops. Or does it? No, it just keeps on going around. The turret just does a 360. Okay. There you go. There you go. So now the constraint has kicked itself in. But yeah, it essentially just means that the turret will always face forwards no matter what. At least it should do, unless the game just needs to update it. Let's just check, shall we? Because I'm sure that when I tested this before, oh no, it has stopped it from facing. It's only okay. Interesting. So you can actually do it. That's pretty interesting. I didn't realise that. Well, sure, that fixes the turret issue then, I guess. Now that I've changed the angles there of the turret, when I checked it, didn't work, but apparently I was just doing it wrong. But yeah, so there you go. This is just the German T-35 copy, and in fact, it's quite funny to go up against it if I was to switch to France quickly. So here I am in my LM Char, and if I was to spawn this thing and just watch it shoot at me, as it killed itself. Lovely. Hopefully it doesn't do that. Because this thing has got 60 mils of frontal armour, so it will literally just continue shooting at me and do absolutely nothing, because none of its guns have got penetration enough to get through my sloped 60 mils of frontal armour. So I imagine this is what the French felt in 1940 when the Germans were just bouncing off of their armour. The tank is literally doing absolutely nothing to me, and I can't actually really get through his armour either, which is a bit of a problem. There you go, managed to ricochet it up into the top of the turret. So, as for armour wise on this thing, it's got 45 mils sloped on the main turret and the hull. The little Panzer I turrets have only got 50 mils and then 10 mils on the side, but for the actual main turret and the main hull, 30 mils of side armour, 20 mils of rear armour, and then, yeah, like I say, the small turrets 10 and then 15. The small turrets really aren't that well armoured. But yeah, it's legally distinct from the T-35 because the T-35 had 45 mils and a 76. These have got 37s and a 45 and a 75. So it's totally legally different. But yeah, so that is the multi-turret tank for Germany that I have made here. There's just one more tank to show you now that we've moved into the big boys here, and that is to come to Britain. And the tank that I want to show you for Britain is this. It is the King George. The King George infantry tank, Mark 1. I might make a full line for this. Yeah, let me just change the basket space here. There you go. Now that we can actually drive it. So yeah, this is basically what I wanted the castles to be in terms of shape, but not in terms of guns. So the castle series, I originally wanted to be a straight copy of the Churchills, but I messed up on the tracks, and I didn't put the tracks all the way above the hull, and so I just rolled with it, and this is how we've got the castles. For the King George, and also for the P2140 and the P2842 in the Italian line, these are true Churchill copies. I'm just going to put that out there. This is not as legally distinct as the German T-35. This is this is just a full straight up. This is just a full straight up copy. So what this is, it's essentially a elongated Churchill hull with a 2-pounder gun in a front turret instead of a 3-inch howitzer in the front of the hull. That's essentially what we've done here. So it's got a long-barreled 2-pounder gun, 40mm there, as you can see. Interwar tank, 52mm of penetration. The main turret has got a 6-pounder anti-tank gun, so 57mm it penetrates, 69 nice millimeters of armour. The other barrel length here, the second part of the barrel is 69 or 0.69 nice meters long. And then yeah, it does this. If we switch that over, there you go. There you go. Now it's done what I wanted it to. So yeah, this is essentially just the Churchill copy that I wanted the castles to be, but the castles became their own different thing, and the P26 or the Italian heavies, and this tank is essentially what I wanted it to be. So we've got a big spotlight on the top of the hull. Let's just make that even bigger, because why not? I had no space to put it on the front here, so I just stuck it up top of the turret. I thought, why not? This is already a weird tank, why not? So yeah, big old engine deck, spare barrels for spare fuel. Yeah, two different guns. We've got a 6-man crew. We've got just the single single guy in the front turret doing the loading and firing of that 2-pounder, and then we've got the 3-man crew in the top of the turret, and then we've got a driver and radio operator here. The radio operator's back here somewhere, underneath this other hatch. So he's right behind the turret. Armour-wise, 50 mils of frontal armour for the small turret. Not the small turret. Or is it? Yes, the small turret does actually have 50 mils of frontal armour. So it's 50 mils all round for the front of the hull, front of the small turret, and front of the main turret. 30 mils for the sides, of all round, and then 15 mils for the rear. And then I think, is it also 15 mils? No, it's 10 mils for the rear of the 2-pounder turret, because you're never going to see it, so why not? We have got the side armour plating covering the side of the tracks, and yeah, it's essentially just what I wanted the castles to be, but with an extra turret at the front. So I might try and improve this as we go through the years, like I did with the castle and the cheetah. But yeah, as you can see, the 2-pounder turret has got a decent arc, considering that, because it's mounted so forward in the front of the hull, it can actually turn a pretty decent way, which the 3-inch howitzer in the original Churchills couldn't, because it was limited by the front arc that it had within that small space of the hull. But because this isn't a 3-inch howitzer, it's a 2-pounder in a fully functioning frontal turret, we've got a pretty decent firing arc. And yeah, if we wanted to, we can switch between just 2-pounder. Or can we? No, we can't. I haven't done that. But yeah, because we've got both guns, we can just shoot away. They're both pretty much the same reload time. The 2-pounder, as you can see, reloads slightly quicker. Only slightly though. It's like 2.9 seconds to 3 seconds for the 6-pounder. It's really nothing crazy. Nothing crazy different between the two of them. The 2-pounder also only fires AP. We do have a small stock of AP-HE for the main 6-pounder gun. They're both using the Matilda. Mantlet as well. It just made sense for being Britain. But yeah, so this is what the gunner sees. He sees his extra little gunner at the front. So yeah, it's not quite as well armed, shall we say, as the German tank, but the guns are of a better quality, I think, over the German T-35 knockoff. So yeah, we've got all right interwar multi-turreted tank. There is a reason why multi-turret tanks never took off, because with one commander commanding like 11 different guys, that's not good for communication and just overall tank functionality. But here in Sprocket, at least, we don't have to worry about that, and we can have as many turrets as we want. So yeah, like I say, I might make some more of these in the future, make a sort of late war multi-turreted King George tank. And I keep on wanting to call this the King George class, like it's a ship, but it's not. It's an infantry tank, but every time I see King George, I just want to call it the King George class. I suppose it's sort of like a land battleship more than anything, I suppose, this tank. But there's our suspension. Suspension's pretty good, bouncing around. There it goes, boing, 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 boing. Quite smooth, actually. But yeah, so those are my forays into the multi-turret market of tanks. So I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.